May 1993. The NBA is about to award the MVP trophy after the voting. Michael Jordan hopes to win the fourth MVP award of his career and the third in a row, something no one had achieved since Larry Bird did it in the mid-1980s. But the decision has already been made. Charles Barkley will be named NBA MVP that season. But fate, once again, had already been written. It wouldn't be a month before MJ had the opportunity to get his revenge. Because both the Bulls and the Phoenix Suns, two of the best teams in recent basketball history, were destined to meet in the finals. It was there, on June 16, 1993, when Michael Jordan finally got his revenge on Charles Barkley, in the most Michael Jordan way possible. 55 points, zero mercy. This is the story of how Michael Jordan's ego was rebuilt. This is the story of the day Michael Jordan destroyed Charles Barkley and the Phoenix Suns. In 1993, Jordan was already considered not only the best player in the league, but the best player of all time. He wanted to win every championship, every award, and because of that, leading the league in scoring had become a habit. But as time went on, more and more young players seemed capable of keeping up with him. In 1993, we saw the best example. Charles Barkley was a dominant player, a paint beast who, despite being undersized at 6'6", was able to dominate matchups against much larger defenders. Alongside him, the Phoenix Suns had a collection of hugely talented players, such as two-way shooting guard Dan Marley, Kevin Johnson, Richard Dumas, Danny Ainge, Tom Chambers, and Cedric Ceballos. The Suns were probably the best roster in the NBA, as evidenced by their regular season record of 62 wins and 20 losses, a record even better than the 57-25 that the Bulls achieved that year. However, during the playoffs, Charles Barkley was named NBA MVP. This did not sit well with MJ, who wanted revenge on the player of the moment. But he would get his chance. After defeating Atlanta, Cleveland, and New York, the Bulls were destined to face the Phoenix Suns in the 1993 finals. MJ dominated the first two games of the series, scoring 31 and 42 points in Phoenix to give Chicago a 2-0 lead. But in Game 3, despite his 44 points, the Suns were able to win at Chicago Stadium. So Michael, if he wanted to win the series, would have to go off in Game 4. If the Suns won, they would regain home court advantage and be favorites to close out the series. But if Michael Jordan won, he could infinitely expand his legend by achieving the three-peat. For that reason, when June 16, 1993 arrived, everyone stood up to see if Michael Jordan's legend would continue to grow, or if it would be eclipsed by the legend of the best names of the new generation. Charles Barkley was smiling, thinking his time was now. He was relaxed, as he always was, but MJ was not having any of it. He was determined, only worried about two goals that night. The first one was to win the game. The second was to humiliate Charles Barkley. A few moments later, the ref tossed the ball into the air. It was time to see if MJ would succeed. However, Charles Barkley was the first player who had the first say. From the low post, Barkley was so dangerous that Chicago had to send multiple defenders. And this time, he makes the right read by finding Richard Dumas on the free throw line. But Michael responded almost immediately, knocking down a midi after a pass from Horace Grant to get his first basket of the night. Moments later, after a nice lob pass from B.J. Armstrong, Jordan was open enough to knock down the baseline jumper in the face of Dan Marley, who came to help. Not only that, but 3 seconds later, he was the first to make the defensive transition to try to prevent Marley's layup. But man, remember MJ was in the corner, the spot farthest from his own hoop. Early in the game, Scottie Pippen also started to cook, pushing the tempo and finding his way to the paint. Also with his footwork, from where he was able to generate advantages to get his looks. And early on, Charles Barkley was having some trouble getting into the game, thanks to Phil Jackson's defensive adjustments. But it was inevitable that the paint beast would get himself started shortly thereafter. So Michael, watching him get hot, knew he had to get more aggressive. On this play, Pippen hands him the ball 15 feet away from the hoop, and MJ knocks down his signature turnaround fadeaway jumper. Shortly after, Pippen helps him with another drive that, this time, he finishes with a dunk. But Barkley always seemed capable of responding on the other side with his back-to-the-basket game. That said, Michael soon showed that he had no problem playing back to the basket himself. Look at the gorgeous fadeaway he's able to connect just after with 3 defenders in his face. But to be realistic, he had no problem facing the basket either. Look how he's able to knock down the long 2 and catch and shoot after a pass from B.J. Armstrong. Jordan was active everywhere, including on the defensive glass, which he used to help the Bulls get out fast in transition. Watch how MJ starts the play, and then BJ Armstrong and Pippen finish it with an alley-oop. Of course, in the meantime, he kept using his incredible first step, going around Marley to finish with the and one layup. Sometimes he didn't need anything else. As soon as he saw an opening, he drove with all his might, like his legacy was on the line. We know, it actually was, but man, Charles Barkley's legacy was also on the line. And he proved it in plays like this one, getting the steal and even looking back at Jordan before dunking the ball. Jordan responded quickly with his own dunk after a quick drive from the left wing, elevating over the Suns' defenders. Also yet with another drive to the paint, this time finishing with his left hand over Marley. The second quarter was turning into an MJ scoring show, and at this point, there was no one who could stop him. One play later, he spins baseline to finish with a difficult fadeaway with almost no angle for his 10th made field goal of the night. Did you think that would be enough for the first half? No way! Pippen found Jordan in the short left corner to knock down the jumper. But even with Michael's performance, his Bulls were struggling. And after they went 0 for 6, Jordan took the ball again to knock down the off-the-dribble midi in the face of Tom Chambers. But that's when Michael made a play that changed the course of the game. Horace Grant blocks Chambers' shot, and Scott Williams grabs the board. He swings the rock to Michael, and then Jordan drives to the paint to deliver one of his craziest dunks in the finals, posterizing Danny Ainge to finish with his right hand. That said, with less than 10 seconds left, Michael hits Ainge again with the crossover to knock down the midi over Marley. Although Marley takes it personally, draining the and one three while beating the buzzer. The thing is, Jordan had 33 points at halftime, and the Bulls were only up by 3 points. The rest of the team would have to step up to bring MJ some help, because let's not forget, they were playing one of the best rosters of the decade. Charles started the scoring in the second half after moving great off the ball to get an easy layup. But Jordan soon responded with an and one layup, finding the holes in Phoenix's defense as he had been doing all night. The most incredible thing is that on the next play, he did exactly the same thing, this time from the right. He just gets past everybody, and then he gets his second and one in a row. And now Jordan, constantly double-teamed, tries to get his teammates started, which was the halftime plan. On this play, he finds Scotty in the paint for the layup. On this play, he finds BJ Armstrong at the top of the key for a wide-open three. It was also a pass with a huge degree of difficulty. And on this play, he finds Horace Grant, again after a double team, for the easy dunk. While he was creating offense for everybody, he was also playing lockdown defense on the other side of the court, causing turnovers at a high rate. At the start of the fourth quarter, Frank Johnson, who only played 3 minutes, knocked down a jumper in which he looked like Steph Curry. But Jordan, just like during the rest of the game, was still on fire. This time, from the left wing, he drives, stops, and drains the step back from the baseline. Simply unstoppable. Thanks to Pippen, the Bulls also got some easy baskets in possessions where Jordan could have the time to catch his breath a little. But sooner or later, he would bite again. As in this play, we're in a 1-on-4 transition, he's able to make the Liberty statue layup over Chambers and Barkley. And although Barkley continued to do his thing, getting incredible dunks like this and one, Michael was always able to more than match his production on the other side of the court. Look how, with yet another layup, he's able to get his own and one. Jordan continued to make the right reads, making the right decision that sometimes didn't even lead to a basket, but he was everywhere. But the Bulls, who were up by 4 points with a second left on the clock, had the game under control. Jordan and Ainge went at it and had to be separated. Barkley enjoyed the tension, and in that situation, he was able to score a basket against Horace Grant. But Grant went back at him, putting the ball in after a missed layup from MJ, until Michael, with just 10 seconds left on the clock, was able to get the and one on a layup that he celebrated eagerly. Because that layup, that dagger in the heart of all Phoenix Suns fans, sealed the Bulls' victory. Jordan had done it. His 55 points, 8 rebounds, and 4 assists went down in history as one of his greatest displays of dominance on a stage like the NBA Finals. Game 4 served a purpose. It shattered a man's illusion of invincibility. Charles Barkley, the league's MVP, walked off knowing he had given everything and still lost. "I couldn't sleep," he said years later. "I was crying. I had never felt like that before." Jordan, meanwhile, had just carved another monument into basketball history. He averaged 41 points per game in the 1993 Finals, still the highest ever. And for many, that was the peak of the 90s NBA. Physical, emotional, real. No social media, no load management. Just grown men playing basketball like their lives depended on it. And maybe that's why this game still hits so deep. Because on that night, theater, pain, joy, and legacy collided at once. Barkley's smile, Jordan's glare. Two friends, one destiny, one left with a ring, the other left with regret. So here's the question. Was this the single greatest finals performance ever? Or was it the night basketball itself reached its emotional peak? Drop your thoughts, stories, or even your own "I remember where I was" moments in the comments, because nights like this remind us why we fell in love with the game, when the NBA was the NBA. If you live for legendary breakdowns, epic rivalries, and the moments that made basketball history, subscribe to First 5 Hoops and join a community of real basketball fans. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to stay updated with all our latest content. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.